Hello there, guys. Welcome back to my channel for another What We Really Learned from the past Chelsea game. And it wasn't any old Chelsea game. It was a UEFA Champions League semi-bloody final. And for some reason, Chelsea Football Twitter decided to, do what they do best to be negative when they should be all positive. Bloody hell. I mean, we got 1-1 draw away at Real Madrid. And I know we should have won. And I know we're brilliant. And we didn't take a chance, blah, blah, blah. But the amount of negativity I've seen is outrageous. Even the amount of negativity about my title. I was just trying to praise Pulisic. Give me a rest, guys. I do apologize. But we have a lot to discuss. A brilliant performance. A certain striker that's becoming more and more of a problem, and how much of a problem we will discuss. Even Tuchel seems to be getting a bit angry at it at this point when asked about it in the press conference. And obviously just how the game went overall. A couple of transfer rumours, about Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud as well. And to discuss all of that, we're joined by two very, very special guests. Two of my favourite people on the Chelsea football Twitter scene, if you want to call it that. First of all, as you can see, Mr. Dan McCarthy at Maccasport. First of all, it's been a minute. How you been? And how do you find that game last night?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It has been a while. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. Tactical battle. You knew that was going to be the case, right? When they matched up our shape, Zidane versus Tuchel. It was good. I'll take the 1-1 draw all day long. I know we could have won, but good first leg. Happy with it.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And of course, the second very special guest of today, Mr. ConnCFC. Con, first of all, how are you? And secondly, again, how did you find that game?
How you doing, Laurenz? Thanks for having me back on. It's always a pleasure. Like you two guys very much, so happy to be here. And yeah, the game, I'm with Dan on that. Like, before the game, we all take a 1-1, right? We got the away goals, a great result. It's just after watching the game, you feel like we could have got more, but you can't really be too disappointed because we've got the advantage at the end of the day. So I'm happy.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, at the end of the day, we should have been 3-0 up come the 20th or 25th minute, realistically. And it's one of those where, the people that maybe didn't watch the games and only watched highlights, they will say, well, why? Because you only really had two chances, the Werner one and obviously the goal. But the amount of transition moments we had when the last pass or the last run was just so off. And I'm like, I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know if it was because I don't know where this chemistry went that we had previously, and yesterday was just non-existent at times. It was a bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, we kept Real Madrid to one shot on target. I think we need to praise that more than people have done so far. I know it was still a brilliant goal by Benzema, and I know we should have defended that set piece better. I think it's like the fifth short corner we've conceded from all season long, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But after it just being a simple short corner and us be losing the head at the far post, it was just really well done by Benzema and kind of showing up what a difference it makes when you have a super informed striker and the striker that can't buy confidence, even if it was on sale. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a tough one. Like that finish by Benzema, it's been a long time since we saw finishes like that at Chelsea on a regular basis. So it's a tough one. But we're going to discuss everything. And I think we should probably start that by discussing the lineup, because I saw a couple of your tweets, Dan, about especially Aspie, who some people did criticize, and we'll get to that in particular as well. But obviously, we went with the exact same 11 that started against West Ham, which was only, 3 days before, so 2 days of break in between, 2 away games. Okay, the first one is in London, so can you really count it as an away game, aside from being in a different changing room? I don't know. Maybe Dan can give us his opinion on that. But the second one is a flight to Madrid. It is different to Madrid, who, of course, also had the same amount of rest, but did play a home game. It's a bit different. So what did you two make of the fact that we started the exact same 11 as we did against West Ham? Because West Ham was a good performance, but it wasn't like vintage that we are like, oh, okay, you absolutely have to start the exact same players because we were so brilliant. Let me go with you first, Dan. What did you make of that initially?
Yeah, I think it was, like I said on the timeline, I think it was just experience, right? I think people have not realised yet that we're playing Real Madrid in a semi-final of the Champions League. Like, that's the highest level there is against the most experienced team in the Champions League. That squad is full of winners and full of experience, and they know how to get things done. Like, you could even argue, right, that they're probably happy with 1-1 because they didn't play very well, but they managed to get a 1-1 out of it because of their experience, because of how they recycled the ball and kept the ball. So I wasn't too displeased with it. And I know people were saying, well, they weren't that great against West Ham, but West Ham and Real Madrid are two completely different games. Like, the opponent and the level of the opponent doesn't really matter. It's about the tactical approach of the game, not necessarily who you're playing against, because West Ham play completely different to Real Madrid. But if the same players can do the same job and fit in the tactical change that would be from Real Madrid to West Ham, then you can keep the same team. So I was happy with it. I mean, you'd like to see Kovacic back in there for his energy, but he's obviously not available. But yeah, I was totally happy with it. Was I a little surprised that maybe Havertz didn't start? But maybe. But Werner obviously scored at the weekend, and you got to play a player in form, especially one that's trying to get in form at forward. So yeah, I was happy with it.
That is fair enough. I mean, I would say obviously hindsight is a beautiful thing, right? But in hindsight, you could see that we got quite tired in the second half. So maybe knowing that, it maybe wasn't the best idea to play the exact same 11. But maybe you should have played a different 11 against West Ham rather than playing a different 11 yesterday. But hey, we needed that win against West Ham. So, we did what we had to do. And at the end of the day, we're in a good position after both of these games, realistically. But Con, what about you? Did you have any criticisms with the 11? Because a lot of people didn't like Aspie at right wing back against West Ham. And therefore, a lot of people didn't want to see that again against Real Madrid. We will discuss his performance then in just a little bit. But what did you make of the lineup initially?
To be honest, when I look at Chelsea lineups nowadays, I don't really give them too much attention because I trust Tuchel a lot. I think he's earned that right. So even though I saw Aspie and I was like, cool, Vinicius is going to give him a test, I backed Tuchel on it because, like Dan said, this Madrid team are the most experienced team in the Champions League. They're full of winners. You got Modric, Kroos, Casemiro. All these guys have been there, done it before. We had Werner, 24 years old, Pulisic, 22 years old. Like, we need some sort of experience in that team. Obviously, we have Jorginho, and I feel like we needed Aspie yesterday, not just because what he can do on the pitch, just for his leadership and his mentality. So I totally backed Tuchel on that decision, and I think we played quite well against West Ham as well. I don't think the scoreline really reflects how good we were in that game. We didn't really concede any good chances from West Ham that game. So if he wants to go with the same lineup, I know fatigue plays into it, but hey, you're allowed 5 subs in the Champions League, right? And we have a great bench, so I didn't mind it at all yesterday.
That is fair enough. Oh, but he did only use 3 of those 5 subs. It's one of those things. Managers love going on about this. And obviously in the Premier League, it's like you kind of want to keep that 3rd sub in case you get a late injury. Sure. But it's funny how many times Tuchel keeps going on about this. And then last Champions League game, he made 2 subs, one of them in the 92nd minute. And yesterday he made 3 subs after about an hour and then not another one later on. So it's like so you do those 5 subs then when you desperately want them. But, obviously that's slightly joking. Let's get into the game because my thoughts on, I wanted Aspie to start as well, but did I necessarily want him to start at right wing back? That's what I wasn't so sure. I 100% agree that Aspie needed to start this game for exactly those reasons both of you guys mentioned. His experience, he is the only player that was in the side when we last went to a Champions League semi-final. And, he's been there, done that. He's won Premier Leagues, he's won FA Cups, he's won League Cups, he's won Europa Leagues, he's been in a Champions League semi-final. You need those types of players, especially with, like Con said, having such a young forward line in particular, right? But did I necessarily need him at right wing back? No, but Tuchel confirmed this post-game. He did prepare for 4-3-3 Real Madrid. And then Aspie at right wing back kind of made sense because then you wanted to make sure you shut that side shop and then probably use the other side to be a bit more aggressive and kind of defend but play in a 4 more than a 3, but have Aspie kind of tuck in as almost like an actual right back while you leave Chilwell a lot of freedom to attack. I don't know if that was the plan. That's how I presume, it maybe he thought it out. But the fact that Tuchel turned up, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but in the coverage, he kind of didn't turn up to the initial interview he was meant to give before the game because that's when he found out that Real Madrid were playing a 3-5-2 instead of their usual 4-3-3. And then he was kind of giving his team talk and what we need to do different, especially defensively. He cleared that up after, especially defensively rather than attacking-wise that we changed so much. But do you think that there is a case to be made for that if he knew they would play a 3 at the back, he wouldn't have played Aspie at right wing back, but at right centre back then?
Perhaps. But I think people were thinking about it as Reece James versus Aspilicueta, and it's not. You've got to think, right? You can't drop Christensen in the form he's been in recently. You can't drop Thiago Silva in the Champions League semi-final, and you can't drop Rudiger in the form he's been in. So, with that said, if you want to put Aspie right centre back, you're dropping one of them 3. And I don't think you can. And there's a reason that he didn't, because Christensen I thought was awesome yesterday. And I don't usually say that much about him, but he was quality. Rudiger's been quality. Thiago Silva was quality. And his experience is there. So I think a lot of people were thinking about it as a straight swap. And it's definitely not like that in football. And it's definitely not like that with Thomas Tuchel, right? Because he's so detailed in his tactics. So, yeah, perhaps that would have played a part into it. If he said that, then definitely for sure. But, yeah, I don't think it's more about Reece James versus Aspi. I think it's more about who could you drop from the back three, and I don't see anybody that you could. And yesterday they were all very good, right? So, and I get it with Reece James. I know a lot of people want to see him play as an academy prospect. He's obviously a very good player, right? But this might sound a bit controversial, but I feel like it's the same thing as Callum Hudson-Odoi, that a lot of people just want them to play because they like the player and there's like a fan base for him, rather than is he the best player at the best time to play that certain game, you know? And I think it's a bit of a fanboy thing. I think it's a bit more of a, you know, oh, we love him because he's an academy kid and they should just play all the time because they're an academy kid. But that's not how it works in professional football, not especially in the Champions League semi-final. You've got to play the team that suited the best. And when Reece came on, he was okay. But I don't think, and I can understand why people would want Reece James to play because everyone has a different opinion, right? But Aspi was definitely the better choice to play there, and he done well. And it's not like Reece James has been 10 out of 10 every single game for the last 2 months. So I think people need to realise that and kind of think about the actual game itself and think about the tactics rather than just thinking about what your AVI is on Twitter or what your fanboy thing is.
Oh, I 100% agree. For me, it's just Aspi looked absolutely shattered, you know, even 10 minutes before he came off. So to me, it's like, it seemed like he just doesn't have the legs to play right wing back 2 games in a row with only 2 days rest between. Hence why I would have preferred him at right centre back, just because to getting outpaced every now and again, even though you corrected people, in my opinion, correctly, that it wasn't as bad as people tried to paint it yesterday, also against West Ham. And to some extent, what's he going to do? He's slower than Fredericks. He didn't put himself at right wing back. What's he going to do about just physically being slower? It's like having a go at, I don't know, Hazard not winning a header against Giroud. Who are you going to blame for that? Right? But still, I think, to me, it just seemed like he ran out of legs. You know, I'm sure the rain, the heavy pitch, heavy shirts, whatever, heavy ball didn't help, and you can't control that beforehand and you don't know that beforehand, sure, but still I feel like the legs maybe didn't quite help Aspi in that sense. But Con, what about you? Do you agree with what Dan just said there, or would you personally have rather seen Reece start there?
This is why I love Dan. I'm going to blow his trumpet here. I think he talks a lot of sense. And I don't think Aspi was ever meant to play 90 minutes that game. I think when you hear Tuchel afterwards, he says, we want that aggressive start. So I think he just wants a really strong start and then something to hold on to, which is kind of what we got, to be honest. So I always saw Reece coming on for Aspi in this game anyway, which it happened. And I think he was good. I think if you look back on the decision now, you don't say it was a bad one. I don't think Aspi really did anything of note that was bad. And like Dan said, the 3 centre-backs, who do you drop? Do you drop Andreas, who won the most aerial duels for any Chelsea player last night? Do you drop Rudiger, who's been in the form of his life? Or do you drop the most experienced player Chelsea have in Thiago Silva? And the answer is you don't drop any of them because they've been that good. So it's not just a straight swap. And you need Aspi in there for the experience. I know some people don't really look into the experience too much, but believe me, you need that on a football pitch in the UCL semi-final. And there's no 2 ways about it. So, no, I think yesterday's decision was a good one from Tuchel.
I 100% agree. In hindsight, I just would have started Reece against West Ham, and I don't think that would have affected the result negatively for us, and that would have allowed Aspi to be a bit fresher yesterday. But at the end of the day, like I said, it both worked out pretty well, and it wasn't Aspi's fault. Well, you could argue it was Aspi's fault, the fact we conceded, because he should do better in the header against Casemiro. But no one's to say or to know whether Reece James would have done better in the same header. So you don't know whether just playing the other guy would have actually changed it happening, right?
Reece James, just quickly jump in there. Reece James has been caught out so many times early, and with his player going at the back post, it's incredible. And I'm not bashing Reece. I like Reece James, and I actually wouldn't have minded him starting the game. And I want him to start against Fulham. There's no agenda. I like Reece James. I rate him. I think he's going to be unreal. But people forget, right, that Reece James has been caught out a few. I've seen videos on Twitter, right, people saying that he doesn't transition back well. Like, I've seen compilations of him not doing that. And I'd argue that 10 out of 10, Aspi's better in the air than Reece James for the most part. And with that goal, you're right, Laurenz. It was great to bring it out because you are right. He missed the header, right? But it wasn't the first clear. There was a second one. There was a third one. We could have cleared that ball 4 times. So it's a collective effort. And Casemiro is decent in the air, by the way.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think we need to remember that too. But good point.
Exactly. Yeah, I was trying to kind of reason with the people I had on for the player ratings last night, saying don't just put it on Aspi because Casemiro is good in the air. There's reasons why he scored as many headers and as many important headers as he has against better teams than us, worse teams than us, you know, loads of teams, loads of different types of opponents. And that's kind of the problem. They have a lot of height in their team, especially in defensive areas, plus then Benzema. and we don't. So, someone will have to mark someone a little bit taller than them when that's the squad you have, I suppose. But let's, put the line up aside. Let's get into the game, because those first 25 or 20 minutes of us were absolutely incredible. Going into the game, I was kind of like, okay, I think the guys might be a little bit nervous, especially the younger ones might be a bit nervous. So make sure we see those first 5 to 10 minutes out and then go at them. But absolutely not. No, we literally tore them to pieces in the first 20 to 25 minutes. And like I said already, we could easily have been 3, if not 4-0 up with some of the... Obviously, you never know if we go 2-0 up. Do we even have the other transition moments? You never really know that. But with the chances we had, we could have easily scored 3 or 4 goals from those situations. And the first big chance we had was Timo Werner. And I haven't spoken to you about it in a long time, Dan. So I really want to get your thoughts on that whole situation with Timo Werner, because people know I've been very, very critical of him in the past. But then the West Ham game, I was more full of praise for him than 99% of other people were, because I thought for the first half an hour he was the best player. Then I know he had 2 really bad touches, which nearly gave West Ham the penalty in the end with the whole Aspie handball VAR thing. And then gave the ball away in another couple of transition moments as well, but then scored and then obviously missed his sitter. But West Ham kind of gave me a bit of confidence back into him, while I've been super harsh on other days. But it's just one of those, you cannot keep missing chances like that. And the amount of, in my opinion at least, maybe one of you guys or both of you would disagree, but for me, some of the runs he made yesterday, I just don't understand what he's doing. Like, the ball's carried in the middle and he's coming central. Go wide. Offer some passing lanes, right? Don't cut basically the passing lane off and basically force players to pass you the ball immediately. But, for example, when Pulisic played Werner the ball, that was just a mistake by Pulisic. Shouldn't have played it this early. But there were still other occasions where Werner just didn't time his run right at all, didn't position himself rightly at all, and had that absolute howl of a miss. So, Dan, how do you feel about Timo Werner, and what do we do about him? Because I've said it for months. At times, he should just probably end up on the bench. All of the other players have. Havertz, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi. A lot of them, other than Mount, have all ended up on the bench at times this season, except Timo Werner. So, and I don't really understand why.
With the goal itself, or the not goal, should we say, itself, it's actually ironic, right, that he actually relaxed more than he probably should have. And we've always been telling him to relax in them moments and compose himself, and he was too relaxed. He kind of thought it was in before he even tried to put it in, right? So it's ironic. Yesterday, there were a few moments. I think his runs were poor. The run selection was poor. They were very straight and cut off the passing lanes, as you say. But I also think the timing of the pass was poor as well. I think there was 2 or 3 times that Conte could have played him a lot earlier. And there was one flashback where Timo Werner looked to the bench like as if everyone saw that, right? Conte should have played me a lot. It's not Conte's strength. We know that. And Pulisic, there was one where Pulisic gave it to him way too early and forced him wide. So I don't think it's only Timo Werner. And I don't want to sit here on a stream, right, and act like I'm protecting him, because he should have scored the goal and he should have played better. Simple as that. But with that said, I think he could have been helped a little bit with the timing of the pass and the angle of the pass. But overall, yeah, he was poor yesterday. He was poor. Like I said, I was surprised that Havertz didn't get a start, but I understood why. I thought Havertz done okay when he came on. But with that said, yeah, Timo, I'm not ready to give up on him, because I think he offers a lot to our team in terms of the deep threat, the pace up front. He presses well, and he stretches teams right with his pace. So I don't think we should give up on him yet. And I'm a big believer in form as temporary, class as permanent. Like, you don't go scoring 35 goals, then all of a sudden you score 5 because you become a bad player. There's definitely more to it. Confidence, settling in. What a year to move team like COVID. There's a reason why him and Havertz have both struggled. It's not black and white. So I think we give him time still, but I definitely think if there's a striker available or forward available, which looks like there might be in the summer, then we should hit that, and then maybe find a system where we can play both from up front, or we retrain, or he can be retrained into a left forward or a left winger. But yeah, I definitely think he was poor yesterday, and he could have been subbed earlier, to be honest. But I'm not ready to say that he's a flop as such.
Yeah, I would agree with that last statement for sure. Con, what did you make of Timo yesterday? As for the miss, his overall performance, but again, like Dan said, how much how much of it is just on him? Because like I said, like Dan said, Kante should have played the ball earlier 2 or 3 times. Pulisic had that one moment. I think maybe Mount had one too. I can't 100% remember. But then I also, if I try to put myself into the shoes of the other players, and I know, who said it yesterday? I think Scott was like, sure, as in, because what I was thinking is, when you have the striker that's missed as much as Timo Werner has, is there a subconscious feeling within the teammates? I'm like, do I really pass it to him? Do I really pass it to him? I mean, if Werner is currently scoring 25 goals this season, I guarantee that Pulisic doesn't actually try to score himself when he scores, but tries to actually find Werner and cut it back. But Pulisic chose not to. And I'm not sure how much of a part that plays, and how much of that should be blamed on Werner and how much that should be blamed to on the other players, because Morata said similar things. Morata said that at times he didn't feel players even passed him anymore. So it's a tough one. But Con, how do you feel about the whole situation, I suppose?
First of all, I want to clear up during that Pulisic goal. I don't think Pulisic don't pass the Werner intent like on purpose. I think he just goes for the shot because that's how Pulisic is. He likes a goal. He's not Eden Hazard. He likes to score. So I don't think that was the reason he didn't pass the Werner. I thought he just wanted a goal. With Werner, I've always said I'm going to give him this season, right? Because this season of all seasons is weird. It'd be really hard to say he's a flop. But I find myself saying every time he plays, how hasn't he scored that? Every time. It doesn't matter if it's against West Ham, Real Madrid, whoever it is, Newcastle. I find myself saying, how has Timo Werner missed? And it's mad because, like I said to you last time I was on here, I watched a lot of Leipzig because of the lockdown. That was the first football back on. And I really liked him. I was one of the first Chelsea fans to say, I want this guy at my club. So to see what he's become, it's really strange to me. And like Dan said yesterday, he was too relaxed. It's either he tries too hard or he's too relaxed. He's so unlucky. And he has to score. There's no excuses. People say, it's a good save. He should have made it so Courtois couldn't save it. He's like 4 or 5 yards out at the max. So I don't know with Timo Werner. I would have gone with him yesterday, if I'm being honest. I probably would have gone with Kai. I might have even gone with Giroud, to be honest. I want to give him the season. I'm doing my best to back him because I'm done with getting on Chelsea players' backs because we should support our players. But it's getting really hard for Timo now because if we end up losing at the Bridge or we lose like a 1-0 or something like that, I think at the back of every Chelsea fan's mind is going to be, what if Timo scored?
It's a tough one. And I've said this before. I have been one of the most critical people of Timo Werner in this whole scene, if you want to call it that, right? But then I'm the one that end up saying, yeah, you should probably start. Depending on the game, right? But yesterday, I was very convinced he has started. Because whenever I've watched Real Madrid, they're absolutely horrendous at doing anything about transitions. They're shockingly awful at it. Doesn't matter who plays, but it's Ramos, Varane, they're just dreadful. And I mean, obviously our tactical, idea yesterday helped that because we constantly pulled them, especially the front three, all did a good job at it. And that, to be honest, at times includes Timo Werner pulling centre-backs and opening space in the middle to open up the space for some of the transitions. But whenever I've seen them, they just cannot defend transitions. And who do you want on the pitch when you have a lot of transition and counter-attacks? Your fastest player. Who's the fastest player? Timo Werner. So that's why in my head it was like, yeah, he has to play. And looking at the first half, made a lot of sense. Second half, Real Madrid sat a bit deeper. They, kind of shut up shop and were like, okay, we've got a 1-1 here. These lot are much better than we thought they would be. So let's just sit back and make sure we don't concede another one. That's what it felt like to me, at least.
Laurenz, can I make a point to you, mate, quickly?
Go on.
I think the Timo Werner, how quick he is, it's a good point. But in Havertz and Werner's last season for the old clubs in the Bundesliga, Kai was clocked running at a faster speed than Werner. So if we want to play Werner that way, why can't we play Kai in that way too? Sure, but Marcus Llorente was also yesterday clocked with 2 days ago clocked with the fastest La Liga speed of the season. Doesn't mean he's actually the fastest La Liga player, because what matters is getting. Well, I mean, Dan can agree or disagree with me in a second, but what matters is making up space for yourself. So what's important is the first 5, 10, maybe 20 yards. Tammy Abraham, if you give him the entire pitch, he would probably outrun pretty much everybody on our team, aside from maybe Rudiger. But that doesn't mean he's a super fast player that will help you on the counter-attack, because you need the pace and the speed quickly, not just after you've already covered 30 yards. That's a bit late. Do you know what I mean? But Laurenz, if you look at some of when Tuchel first came to Chelsea, and you look at Kai's movement in them early games, you see he makes these runs. He was just not getting found.
Oh,
I think he has the capacity to play that
He's still
role.
not as fast as Timo in terms of, off the mark, shall we say? But that Dan, you said maybe you would have started Kai as well. How do you see that? Is the pace in terms of Timo Werner even a big advantage to him compared to Kai, or do you see it similar to Con where the pace isn't really the one thing that makes us pick Timo over Kai?
I think you both have good points. I think it's different. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think they're both rapid, and Havertz's pace is underrated, absolutely. But I think it's different pace. I think Timo's more explosive pace, which is what you need. For example, our goal yesterday, Pulisic's goal, right? If you watch the goal back, it's a slow run in the first half of the run, and in the second half of the run, he bolts. And the acceleration is what makes that goal. Because if Pulisic's on a constant running speed, we don't get there. It's a very, it's a smart run. It's a second phase run. So the first phase is slow and then bang. I think Timo has that. Kai necessarily doesn't have that as much. I think Kai's more over a long distance. And I think Kai is more of the nature of, he likes to slow the game down and compose himself, and he can take somebody on better, probably 1v1 than Werner can, whereas Werner relies on raw acceleration speed, and he'll go to goal quicker. Hence why I think Tuchel picks him in these kind of games. Same against Liverpool. If you guys remember the Liverpool game away, same reason he puts Werner.
Dan, can I ask you a question, bro?
Yeah.
What's the point of Timo having this explosive pace when he actually gets the ball and he just slows it down anyway?
Yeah, no, I had a feeling you were going to say that. It's a fair point. It's a fair point, and I think a lot of it's confidence. I think when your confidence is as low as Timo's, you overthink and overanalyze everything. And when you're like, look at Pulisic. When Pulisic's form dropped, we were like, "Where's he gone?" And now he's just going at it. He's back. You can tell his confidence is back. He's driving at everyone. Mason is driving at everyone. We never saw Mason Mount take on as many people as we have now. Yeah. Like because he's confidence. So it's a good question, Con. But I think it's more of a confidence thing rather than a start of play thing. But yeah, you know me. I think you boys know I'm a massive Havertz fan. I think the guy's unreal. I really do. I think he's unreal. But I'm also like, I don't bash players. Like, there's not a player I don't think contributes to the squad or gives to this team, because I know it's hard to be a player. I mean, I don't know how it is to be playing the Champions League semi-final, but it's hard. It's hard. And it's easy to sit on a keyboard, right, and say, well, he's shit and, he can't do this and he can't do that. But people also forget that the human aspect, the mental health aspect of what confidence does to people. Fernando Torres, Alvaro Morata, they're not bad players. They just go through bad runs of confidence.
Oh, 100%. And on that note, the one thing I will say is mental health is important, and don't play like players go through bad spells. But the problem is when players keep being played through the bad spells rather than, helping the team by not playing these players that can't get anything right in that moment. But as you guys can see on screen, we're joined by a third very, very special guest, Mr. The Grandam, Mr. Listen. What do we have to listen to today? Because we are currently talking about Timo Werner, and I know you have your piece to say. So what you're saying about a good old German turbo friend, whatever we want to call him.
For starters, big up to Dan, big up to Con, big up to Laurenz. I've not been on this channel in a while. I mean, a lot of my viewers know this. I've actually been under the weather for quite a few weeks. I've actually been quite ill, and actually still am, but I'm getting better. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, we're back in the building. But Timo Werner, oh Lord Jesus. Oh Lord Jesus. Honestly, if I'm keeping it very real, and if I'm not on the joke thing, because I can already see people in the comment section saying, Danny, take it easy and whatnot. Listen, I'm not here. I did the smoke on my channel. I'm coming from. We've already done that. I've done the smoke yesterday evening. I did it in my video. I did it in my stream today. So like, I'm not coming on smoke again. My thing is the Timo Werner situation. I understand why Tuchel keeps on playing him, because once again, a lot of people criticize him for the number of big chances he is missing, which I do as well. But he's also getting into the positions to get those big chances. So as a manager like Tuchel, he's looking, this guy is actually occupying and getting to those positions, and he's getting the ball in them positions, but he's just not finishing. You can look at this in the other situation. You can be like, oh, raw, look at the other man then we've got. You can look at Giroud. You can look at Tammy. Are they really getting in those sort of positions? Are they allowing play to flow? when Timo Werner is on the ball, and yesterday we saw this, he was actually a problem for Real Madrid in a certain extent. Obviously, as a striker, you're meant to be scoring goals, you're meant to be bringing people in and all them little things. But his striking, his ball striking right now, and his actual decision making, like that shot he took, I can't remember what minute it was in, but that shot he took yesterday, he shouldn't be taking that. He should be passing the ball off. He should be putting the ball in the middle of the park for Mason Mount or someone else to finish it off. So literally, my thing with Timo Werner right now is it's a sticky one. It's actually a massive sticky one. And Tuchel knows this as well. Do you know what I mean? Because if you look at Chelsea's team right now, you've got a lot of pressure from the board to play him. You've got all the drama going on behind the scenes. So it's just a mad one. But one thing I will say, and I will stand by this because I know for a fact on Wednesday, all 4 of us are going to have our notifications popping off like, oh, raw. Dan, I'm getting stressed for the game. Oh, Con, I'm getting stressed for the game. Let me say it now. When everybody's talking next week about, when the realization kicks in that if Timo had finished off some of those chances yesterday, or if he had converted that chance, we could have been in a much better position, then people will begin to understand where I'm coming from. So, like, that's just how it is right now. I wish, because I can't be disappointed in yesterday's performance. Yes, if you told me before the game started we get a 1-1 draw, I would have taken it home every single day of the week before that game played out. But after what happened, it's just a bit disappointing. Do you know what I mean? We could have done so much more. We could have had so much more. But then things just popped off, and like Timo had a big part to play. He played a big part in that. So, yeah.
It's one of those, isn't it? Like, he does good things, but he does things that are super bad and frustrating as fans. And that's just the problem, that it's like the things that he does well go unnoticed when he does things as bad as missing that chance yesterday. Like, we keep talking about it, and we said it on previous, and I'm sure, Tammy said it as well. We're playing bloody Real Madrid. What we need to do is be bloody clinical. The fact that we had as many chances as we did yesterday was somewhat unexpected, I suppose, because Real Madrid have been absolutely brilliant in terms of not conceding too much. So the fact that we had so many chances is crazy, but we need to be more clinical, and we can't afford these kind of misses. Damn, you're going to say something.
Respectfully. Listen, keyword respectfully. If Danny Ings played yesterday, blood, we'd be 3-1 up. Do you know I'm coming from? Let's keep it. I'm being respectful as possible. Even Thiago, that one, Thiago Silva's wife on Instagram, when she was talking, Thiago Silva is not going to go back home and be like, why did you do that? He's going to, when your girlfriend or your wife is like, she says something and she's spitting and you can't really argue, you're going to be like, you're actually right. You're actually right. You made a very valid point. Like, Timo Werner yesterday didn't really do the justice that we needed. Do you know what I mean? I'm still a strong believer. I put out all my propaganda tweets and people have dragged me for flip-flopping and all. You might know the business on Twitter.com. I know how I feel about it, but like, just for me, for example, look at that chance that Benzema had yesterday. I tell everybody that goal that he scored was not a chance. That was not a chance. Any other listen, if that ball fell in the box the way it did for Chelsea yesterday and it didn't go in the back of the net, nobody's complaining. You want to know why? Because what Benzema did to get that ball in the back of the net, very few strikers in world football can do that. And that is my problem. We're going up against Real Madrid in the second leg at Stamford Bridge with an attack that I'm not even confident in. That is the problem. They had that one chance. If you look back and watch that goal that they scored yesterday, I can't blame anybody for that goal. Absolutely nobody. Maybe you can say we could have won the first ball or something along those lines. But Benzema's brilliant. That was a quarter chance. And he just headed it. Keeper wasn't doing anything. None of the defenders, nothing was going to do it. So, like, that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. Honestly speaking, our attack right now is not up to the standard that we need. And I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. I feel like it was going to cost us. I hope to God I get clipped up for being wrong. I hope it hasn't cost us already. Because yesterday, we could have been on a different conversation today, honestly speaking, if we finish it off.
Yeah, Dammy, can I just make a counterpoint to that, bro?
Go on,
bro. That's fair enough. But Benzema's a seasoned vet. He's one of the best in the world. As Chelsea fans, we shouldn't have been naive to think that we're getting Kai, Werner, very young players, that they're going to be at that level already. We have to allow them to make mistakes, That we can't be that naive to think they're going to match Benzema and make, like you said, a quarter of a chance a goal,
Of course.
So, as much as Werner should have scored yesterday, and as much as we should have done better in some of those opportunities, it's kind of expected, our team's extremely young. Like, the fact that we're here already with this, average team age is crazy. Especially when Mason Mount had the performance he did yesterday. It was class.
Yeah, I mean, once again, but the thing is, what I'm saying now, you're gonna hear next week. That's what I'm saying now. You're gonna hear next week. Honestly speaking, it would have been so easy for me to come because if we're going to talk about positives, look at Thiago Silva yesterday. Look at how that guy doesn't look like he's that old. Look at Mason Mount. Modric was in his pocket, blood. I didn't see him anywhere. I honestly did not see Modric yesterday because Mason Mount was on smoke. Kante was also on smoke. A lot of our players were on smoke. But listen, it's 1-1 against Real Madrid, bro. Against Real Madrid. People really feel like we can go to Stamford Bridge and just keep it and defend. If we do, oh my God, I will be so shameless. Honestly, as per usual, I will be shameless, exceptionally shameless. Dan knows I can be shameless in group chat, but I will be very, very shameless. But my thing is like, it's just when you look at the situation at hand, I understand that they are younger players. I understand what's going on. But Con, let me ask you this: if at the start of the season they told you that you are not going to win any money, further down the line you win about £10,000. If you're within touching distance of 100 bags and you lose it, how do you feel? Because honestly speaking, yesterday we could have been in a much better position than we are going to be next week. And if we lose in this semi-final, we don't qualify next week, I'm going to point fingers. Let me keep it real. I'm not even going to lie.
Like, damn, if I got 10 grand, like, I'm a humble guy, so I'm happy with that, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're within touching distance of 100,000 and you go on, it goes down.
Bro,
how do you
like,
feel
you're
about
acting
that,
like
bro?
we're gonna lose at the bridge, bro. If there's any team in Europe who can keep a 0-0 at home, it's Tuchel and Chelsea, bro.
And if there's any team that can absolutely shaft anybody in the these man have 30 Champions League titles from. They've got 30 Listen,
but Danny, bro, they have no attackers coming back.
Hold on. That team has 4 Champions Leagues under Zidane. Do you know how ridiculous that is, bro?
And 0 without Ronaldo.
See,
0 without Ronaldo.
What do you say?
0 without Ronaldo.
That don't change the fact that they can't still. Fam, listen, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be any of that. I'm not even being negative. I don't feel I'm being negative. All I'm just saying is some Chelsea fans really feel like we can just go there and do it 0-0, fam.
Bro, we can, bro. We proved that.
I would back Tuchel's little Tuchy, bombastical, Tuchel, tricky, whatever, from the fantabulous blues. Honestly speaking, remember Porto? You might remember Porto. How did you the three of you feel in the last 10 minutes of that Porto game? Do you want to endure that times 2 for 90 minutes against Real Madrid? No. Honestly, the way I've been feeling with my health, I don't want to do that. Honestly.
Oh my God.
That's like 22 years old talking about his health like he's dying.
Dan, what are you saying? You don't look happy with me, fam.
No, look, I think you're both right, by the way. I agree with Con. Like, if there's a team that can keep a 0-0 at the bridge or keep a 0-0 in the Champions League, it'll be Tuchel and Chelsea. Like, I agree. I also agree that Real Madrid are not the Real Madrid of old. I agree with Con in that respect as well. They won't put 3 or 4 past us. They won't. But I agree with Danny in that Benzema has a bit of magic in him at any point, and he can get the goal. Sergio Ramos will be back. He's dangerous from set pieces. So you're both right. You're both right. But what I will say, my point in this argument is, I'm not, and I don't know if it's because I coached the game, but you can't be if, buts, and maybes in this game. Like, you can't be going, oh, we're definitely through if Werner scores that goal. No, we're not.
Yeah.
We haven't even played the second game yet. Who knows what's going to happen? You know, we might win the second leg 2-0 anyway. That doesn't even freaking matter. So you can't say that, and you can't say, you can't say things like, oh, this, because we can sit here for 20 minutes, boys, can't we? And say, well, if Conte's 2 of them passes were good, right? If Pulisic released the ball quicker, right? If Pulisic scored, if Benzema didn't hit the post, we forget that. Benzema could have wrapped that top bins, not a problem. Yeah. So, and if he does wrap that top bins 1-0, the game's completely different if they go 1-0 up, completely different. So we can't do that. And I know people like to do that on Twitter, but we can't do that. Like, the game is the game. We haven't played the second leg yet. We're all a little bit disappointed. We all would have liked to walk out of there. Tuchel said it. Aspi said it. Thiago Silva said it. We all would have liked to walk out of there 2-1. Of course we would. But I guarantee 99% of Chelsea fans would have taken 1-1 before the game started. And we'll take 1-1 to the bridge.
Yeah, we can't run with if buts and maybes. It has to be absolutes. I'm coming from, and that's just how it's got to be. You're not going to tell your children in 20 years that, hurrah, Timo Werner nearly did. Nah, that's not going to run. You know what I'm saying? They don't write that in the history books, boss. Nobody does that.
Dammy, last thing I'm going to say to you about this, bro. Against Atletico, we weren't confident. All right. Against City, we weren't confident. Even against Porto, I weren't confident. But, bro, I'm not saying we're going through, but be a bit more positive, bro.
No, but that's
just a tiny bit more positive, bro.
See, that's the problem. People feel like I'm being a bit negative about it. I'm just
I
feeling.
wonder why, bro. I wonder why.
No. The thing is, I just feel like, all right, you know what? This is it. We're not on Twitter.com, bro. Let's not go back and forth. Like I said, I'm not going to go back and forth. I'll allow you in it. Do you know what I'm saying? That honestly, like Dan made a very good point in it. Dan made a very good point. So it all just feels like how you want to approach the game. But honestly speaking,
for me, what you're doing, Danny,
what
you're doing, Danny, to me is you're just protecting yourself. You know, you're making sure you can't get too ahead of yourself for next week, and then if it doesn't work out, you're not too disappointed.
You can't be that way, man. Put Chelsea first before yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right, but honestly, if I catch you next week saying anything I'm saying now, raw, you're finished. Oh my God, you're finished. Bro, I will clip this stream, yeah, and I will put you on the TL, bro. I dare you, fam. I dare you. I don't have news correct, you understand? Laurenz doesn't tweet too much and he doesn't tweet too wild. I will come for you, blood. Best, fam. Let me just say that right now.
Bro, I'm clipping this bit right here. I'm clipping it when Chelsea go through.
No, but the thing is that when you clip it on my channel, I'll be dancing to the UCL music, blood. You understand? So like, I don't know that I can't lose because my team will be so I can't lose, fam. You on the other hand, Bumbo Ras clap. I've got you my side, fam. Honestly, right now.
let's try to get things to, you know, let's try talking about things that even Dammy can't spin negatively. Let's quickly do that. Let's quickly do that. I know Dan wants to say something in a second. First of all, big shout out to Rodrigo for, you know, as always, everybody calls Dan, you know, Sean Dyche. And we obviously need Chris Wood. I don't know why, because just why not? But I appreciate the donation a lot, Rodrigo. And it's been up on the screen for so long. He's even dropped another donation saying, Dammy, are you reverse psychology merchant?
You guys know me. You know me. I've been doing this for. Listen, I'm the reason why we're in the Champions League semi-final. Let me put it like that. That's all I've got to say because my reverse psychology game is too strong. Do you know where I'm coming from? I've got that African juju sprinkled all over that squad, fam. We're getting through. We're going to win the UCL, fam. You know what I'm saying? Let me just keep it real, fam. Let me keep it real.
Exactly. See, there's no such thing as LA juju. You know, we've got to rely on Dammy's Africa juju. That's what we need.
What's LA juju?
That's what we need. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, like Rodrigo, if you want to use the super chat function, of course you can, because we're 4 people here, so I can't possibly get to every comment because I see a lot of people are talking. I appreciate it a lot. Get subscribed if you haven't already. We're on the road to 10K. But let's talk about more positive things. Let's talk about the one situation that didn't put us into a worse situation for next week, but about the one situation that put us into a good situation for next week, which is Christian Pulisic's goal. And why I titled the video the way I did. Christian Pulisic yesterday did things that Eden Hazard has never managed to do for us. Because if next week ends 0-0, that Pulisic goal literally dragged us to a Champions League final. And that's
Wait. Sorry, I just saw a comment. Some guy in the comment section just put, I think our 22-year-old players are better than the older ones. Don't disrespect Toni Kroos and Luka Modric like that ever again. This is what's wrong with Twitter and younger people watching football. Like, they forget what them two have done for the game. Sorry, I had to jump in there on that. Apologies, but it's so Mason Mount is obviously unreal, right? But stop, Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. Stop. Sorry, Laurenz, carry on. Sorry.
No, I get it. Although I'm not sure if he wasn't talking about our own older players rather than their older players.
I hope he's talking about ours. Maybe ours, yeah, hopefully. Okay, fair enough. He did say ours. Fair enough. I was going to say, don't. I'm jumping off if we're talking. No, I'm not.
Nah, people can't disrespect them. Them man ran rings around against Liverpool. Them man that love to press. Those two, as old as they are, with their Ballon d'Or winner. Let me keep quiet.
I don't think it's necessarily older or younger. They're all different. Well done, Laurenz. They're all different, right? Conte's older, right? But he's better than all of them at what he does. So, no, I think it's different. I think everyone jumped. This is what I'm talking about earlier, guys. Remember I said about the whole Reece James thing and the Callum Hudson-Odoi, like the fan train. People don't actually think about tactics and football when they talk about them players. They just think about how many retweets they're going to get on a picture of Callum Hudson-Odoi on Twitter. You know, they think about they do. Let's just call it how it is, right? You guys know me. No, I'm not ragging Con at all. You know? We already spoke on this before you got on here. Damn it, right? Don't come in here and start.
I'm not adding fuel to the fire. I've not spoken to you guys. I'm happy to see you, Dan. I haven't spoken to you in 10 minutes. I've been in minutes. So like, I'm just throwing banter out there.
I'm sorry, Laurenz, we got so off topic now. I'm sorry. Go back to Pulisic.
I love it. I'm a big fan. Do your thing, boys. Sorry.
But yeah, Pulisic,
I think, and I want to make this very, very clear to people that are only tuning in or whatever and haven't seen what I said at the beginning or in the chat. What I tried to do with the title and the thumbnail wasn't at all trying to slander Eden Hazard, but it was trying to big up Christian Pulisic. Maybe Dan will have a different spin on this. For me, and some American was clearly offended yesterday by me saying this, but to me, what Pulisic did yesterday has got American DNA written all over it. Didn't really look bothered at all against West Ham to me. It looked like he wanted to make sure he stays fresh for Real Madrid. Barely bothered running. But then yesterday, man turned up. Man was in playoff mode, as Matisse keeps going on about. Man was in playoff mode, turned up, got us that goal, and it might be taking us to a Champions League final. Do you know what I mean? That's what he does. And that really good chip, lovely. But I want to hear a bit of chat about Christian Pulisic, Dan. There was a lot of discussion about him earlier in the season. Oh, he's not playing. When he did play, it wasn't happening. He's constantly injured. Do we sell him because he's injured so much? And now he's the guy that actually does score in the Champions League semi-final. And I think people don't praise him enough for that, do they?
They do not. And that's the problem with Twitter and younger crowds, right? Short-term memory is incredible. It's honestly mad. People forget how good and bad players can be, and in this case, good, right? And I'll be honest, I think I've said this on Dammy's stream a million times and other streams. When Pulisic first signed, I wasn't overly excited. I was like,
yeah,
he's decent. He's decent, but it feels like a Nike marketing deal. And let's be honest, there is a part of that to it, which is fine. It's business. Yeah. We have to remember Chelsea Football Club is now Chelsea Football Business Club. We have to remember that, as we saw with Super League.
Yeah, Chelsea Super League. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to remember that. But with that said, even the first 6 months, which weren't the most electrifying for him, but I just saw a player in there. You just see he has that, like you say, playoff mode, or Matisse playoff mode. He has that big game aura about him. Like, he thrives in the big moments. I mean, you got to remember he's leading the US, which I know they're not a soccer or football powerhouse, but they are a powerhouse as a country. And he's got millions of people, and he's the guy, right? So I think he's used to that pressure. And people who I've spoke to who have interacted with him, or actually people who know him, I know a couple of people who know him personally, and he has an arrogance about him. He does have an aura about him that, he knows he carries himself well. He knows he's good, and he thrives on the big moments, which you need, I think, to compete at the highest level, right? So with that said, what a fantastic talent, what a player. And yes, when he's in that mentality, in that mindset, and he's on that form, he's up there. He's definitely up there.
And he's not injured, yeah.
No, he's just so direct, and it's hard. You can't defend direct players. He's just so direct. He's so tricky. His footwork's incredible, and when he's focused and when he believes in himself, I think he lost his confidence a bit. I know Con might know more about this than I do, because he's obviously a big Pulisic fan. But when he lost his confidence, I know a lot of people doubted him, right? But if you know the game and you know mental health, you know that confidence can come back. A couple of goals and your confidence is back, and we've seen now that his confidence is back. And the composure for that goal, by the way, Nacho defended it like a Nacho. But
the real is.
Yeah, honestly. But the composure and he didn't rush. Like, when he took it, he basically walked around Courtois. He walked, and then to lift his head up and then still place it in a goal that's got 3 people on the line. Incredible composure. So yeah, I'm a big fan of him now. I rate Pulisic, and obviously it helps living in America now that the Americans do well. I hear about it all the time. I always get texts and calls whenever he does well, so that's fun. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I know Con's happy as well.
Exactly. And with that said, Con, add your bit.
Me talking about Pulisic. I could do this for hours, honestly.
He probably has a hard on right now.
It's just crazy. Like Dan said, short memories, because people were saying he was our best attacker like 4 or 5 months ago. 2 months ago, they were saying let's sell him for Sancho, who ironically missed the Man. Who's it? Yeah, he missed that Man City games due to what? To injury. So it happens,
Don't do that.
Let me talk. You have your piece in a sec, bro. You have your piece in a sec, bro.
Don't do that.
So that's just the funny thing with football, though. Players get injured, right? And it sucks.
Yeah.
Pulisic more than most. But under Tuchel, he's looking healthy. I think Tuchel knows when to play him and when to rest him. And the mentality of him needs to be really hyped up more than what it is, because he was saying he can't wait to play against Real Madrid. He's not saying, it's a big game. He's like, I can't wait to play. Like, the mentality of that to Real Madrid, who are seasoned vets in the Champions League in Europe, right? and he can't wait to go to Madrid and play them. It just goes to show that arrogance, like Dan says, he has that about him. He knows he's the man because he is. He's Chelsea's best attacker. And that for me isn't for debate. I don't think anyone can really debate that. Who's going to be better? Kai? No. Mount? Maybe. Maybe Mount's the only one who could really rival that. But he's our most efficient. On form, he's our most efficient. So, yeah, and I think a lot of people should, like, especially on Twitter, it's so bad when a player's off form. I think Ziyech, if you look at him, he's a prime example of how easily people can turn him just like that. And it's crazy. Dammy, you're one, bro. You're one. All right. So don't
the same people bashing Ziyech were absolutely going delirious when he scored them 2 massive goals in that game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know what it is, Dan? I was one of those people as well. My tweet is still there.
Yeah, I know you were. You probably were.
5,000 likes on his head, fam. We move. So, like, I'm shameless like that, fam. Honest to God. But I think,
you have to understand that. You're right. Fair play to you. You're transparent about it. I think we have to understand the game on Twitter, right? I think a lot of us here sitting now, maybe not Con, because Con has got a very good following and a big following, but, you know, I think a lot of us could probably alter the way we tweet. I know I could alter the way I tweet and what I tweet to get that following, to get that, you know, and everyone's entitled to do that. And we have to understand what Twitter is and what it's for and why people do it. And that's fair enough. It's not good or bad. It's fair enough. It's completely fair enough. But you are like,
I feel like that's indirect to me, Dan.
No. Not at all. No, I'm just saying because you have the following, right? So you get it, you understand it. That's not because you've done it, because you understand it. But no, I don't think so. I don't think you do that, Con. I think you're pretty transparent. I mean, you've come on here and you've said your points, right? You disagreed. You could have easily sat here and disagreed with everything everybody said. So, with that said, I think that's good. And I'll be honest, Laurenz, I wouldn't jump on with certain people on the timeline if you invite them on at the same time as me.
Right. That episode, that podcast episode, we had to clip out at the end with Jay.
Oh, about the guy that I don't like on Twitter, was that part? Yeah. There's a few. Trust me, there's a few. Absolute clowns, honestly.
If I drop the name on this stream, we might have a massive explosion. Okay, but like Dan said, like that's the thing. Like for me, for example, I think the best person to maybe do this, because I know Laurenz. I speak to Laurenz on this semi. Because thing is, Laurenz, you see when I jump on your streams versus when I'm on Twitter, they are two very different things. You know what I mean? I treat Twitter for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Twitter is a platform where you just make noise. Honest to God, that is what Twitter is. When you want to see me like that, honestly, let's keep it very real. Con will tell you the same thing because he knows blood. That man know. That's why Con comes onto a platform like this to have a proper conversation about football, because he knows you can't really do that on Twitter. You don't do that on Twitter. You don't, fam. We all know this. We all know this. Yeah. When you want to have a proper conversation, I mean, don't get it twisted. For example, if I hop into Dan's mentions, for example, 90% of the time, I'm coming in with that Russell Westbrook gift. You know, I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? He's on the joke man thing. But when we're on the stream, apart from when I'm taking the piss, if I'm being serious and I'm putting out a point, you at least get to, do you know I'm coming from? It's very different energy. So like the whole Ziyech thing, for example, Ziyech, both on the timeline and on the stream, I don't like that guy. Let me keep it very real with you, man, because he's they showed me dreams for Ziyech. But at the end of the day, like personally speaking, people hacking the Moroccan wizard Ziyech. Yeah, Con sold all of us dreams on that guy. Con, you have the problem, fam. You are the reason why people don't like him. You sold us dreams, fam. You told us that I was going to come in and light up the league. It was so bad that to this day, that I regret having that tweet up, because it's one of my best ever tweets, fam. 9,000 likes, fam. I said it was going to convert the Premier League to a Farmers League, fam. Let me not go in that direction. I was going to say, but fam, that guy.
Wait, Demi, let me rephrase that then. What about if I told you at the start, if we signed Hakim, he'd score against Atletico in the Champions League and he'll knock Man City out of the FA Cup semi-final? What would your words be then? You'll be like, I can't wait to get this guy in my team. So, bro, maybe he hasn't scored loads, but he scored important goals, bro.
Important goals. We're not debating that, bro. That's not up for debate. But if you want to sit down here and tell me that Hakim Ziyech this season has been up to the level and standard that you were expecting and you hyped him up to be, then you, my friend, you're a liar, fam.
Injury killed him. Injury definitely killed him.
You're right. And the thing is, when I say this about Ziyech, if you check my streams and my videos, I say the same thing as well. I agree. I fully agree. Injuries didn't help him. Switch up information hasn't helped him. A lot of things have obviously altered this game. Do you know where I'm coming from? So, like, obviously, once again, but still, I've got to push my agenda because that's twitter.com. Do you see what I'm saying? That is twitter.com. That's what you do on Twitter. You get people gassed up, you get them frustrated, you get them annoyed. Do you know what I'm saying? What are we talking about? If I want to be serious with Dan, I'm not going to message him on Twitter. I message him on WhatsApp. Do you know where I'm coming from? Yeah, but that's how it is, bro. How many times do I message you seriously on Twitter from? 9 times out of 10. What am I saying? If I message Con on Twitter, well, I'm probably doing some funky nonsense in DMs. If I'm messaging Dan, I'm Russell Westbrook in your mentions, fam. I've not even done that in a while because I've been off the platform. Do you know where I'm coming from? So that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So, like, let's just keep it real.
Lorenz's stream has been hijacked. Absolutely hijacked.
I'm having a great time. I'm telling you, I'm having the best time. I love it. But Tammy, I do actually want you to react to the super chat by Rodrigo here.
Big up to Rodrigo. Rodrigo's always supporting and everything. That means you're due stronger than Ole. I have proof he uses Norwegian witchcraft. I will play Werner next week. He offers us something different. I mean, for me, yeah, like I said at the start, on a serious note, like for me personally, Timo Werner, I can get why it's so difficult to know whether to drop him or not because he gets in those positions, he gets to those chances, he gets those opportunities. He's just not really finishing them off right now, and he's not doing that. Like you guys said on confidence, he's low on confidence right now. You can tell me he scored against West Ham, you can tell me he did all of that, but he's low on confidence. He's clear as day. Like he's not as bad as people make him out to be. I know he misses quite a few chances, and he missed a few chances at Leipzig, but at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be surprised if he starts next week. Despite how he played yesterday, honestly speaking, I feel like he's going to start next week against Real Madrid. I know Laurenz deep down is like, "Raw, damn me, I don't know why you said that." Because I know Laurenz has a boiling Werner agenda. I don't know whether he's showing that to you, Dan, and he's showing that to you, Con. But Laurenz has a boiling, hot, steaming Werner agenda. And
you weren't here after the West Ham game. You would have thought someone kidnapped me and put an imposter here because you would have been confused by my words. But anyway, I want to go to one last thing before the very last thing. I want all of you three to pick the 3 players that kind of impressed you the most yesterday. And I know all of you are going to include Kante. Do that happily. That's why I said 3, not 1, because otherwise everyone picks Kante and it's boring, right? So I want 3. And I will start with Dan because, you know, Con and Dammy had that back and forth. So, you know, let Dan say his piece. Who was the 3 that impressed you the most?
First would have been Christensen. I think he oh my God, my voice. Yeah, he really impressed me. He was quality, covering aerial duels. He covered Aspie obviously a lot. He was the biggest one for me. I thought he was. I think not a lot of people talked about him, and I thought he was really good. Obviously, Pulisic was impressive, especially in the first half. He was very impressive. Just tired in the second half, right? But he was very good. Conte was good. Conte was great. I thought Conte was poor in the first half. Actually, I think his second half was just unreal. And that second half is what everybody remembers, right?
Yeah.
So obviously he was up there, but to give you someone different, I'll probably say Thiago Silva. The amount of times that he didn't just obviously he had that one acrobatic clearance, which was unreal. But apart from that, did you notice how many times he was under pressure and he just brought it down and then like juked someone out and then just played simple? Like Benzema was trying to press him and Thiago Silva had him apart from the goal in his pocket the whole game. And Benzema's on form and he's unreal. He's criminally underrated. So I'd say, yeah, Christensen, Thiago Silva and Pulisic for me.
That's fair. Con, what about you?
Werner impressed me how crap he is. I'm joking.
Wow.
I'm joking. Pulisic, of course. I know he's about that, so I shouldn't really be too impressed. But UCL semi-final, I'm going to always blow his trumpet. That's what I'm here for. It's my sole purpose. Andreas as well. As Dan said, I think he was our best defender yesterday. For the life of me, I don't know why he's so hated. Academy product, doing well. Why are you hating on the guy? Makes no sense to me. Obviously, N'Golo, but if I want to change it up and be a bit edgy, probably Jorginho. I think he was really, really good yesterday. N'Golo steals all the headlines because I think he was the better out of the 2, but I think Jorginho was really good too. And what's the phrase I'm looking for? loud when they perform bad or something like that, quiet when they perform well, sort of thing. And that's Jorginho all over.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's true. That is very true. That is very true. I think that's a good 3 as well, to be honest. And Tammy, what about you? Can you manage to come up with a different 3, or will we start to have some?
My 3 isn't different because, honestly speaking, for me, the person that impressed me the most, obviously, that this is not man of the match, Thiago Silva at his age. This guy, people don't understand, because a lot of people just look at what he does defensively as well. This guy, when he's starting up attacks with those passes, people don't there are so many extra things he brings to that pitch when he's on the ball, and he's always flawless. I don't see that guy making mistakes. I genuinely don't. Honestly, yesterday, if he wasn't on that pitch yesterday, obviously, like, Christensen was really good yesterday. Rudiger was actually really, really good yesterday as well. People are not going to give him flowers because obviously he's butting heads in the training ground and moving wild and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, Rudiger was quite good yesterday. But I have to give on to Christensen, not to Thiago Silva. Christian Pulisic, obviously, one of my players, in it. You know, I'm coming from. I even went on record last time of saying he's going to have a better career than Callum Hudson-Odoi. I said this in 2019, innit? So people would say, but then again, 2019, oh, damn, you're a flip-flop because you changed your opinion 2 years later. You know, I'm coming from. That's how Twitter moves, innit? But at the end of the day, Christian Pulisic, the composure to finish that chance of yesterday in the way he did, in the manner he did, absolutely world-class. And for the third one, I'd have to give it to Jorginho Frello, fam. You know, I'm coming from. Jorginho yesterday was actually very, very good. He was very, very good in the midfield where I thought that he was going to get absolutely shafted. You know, I'm coming from. I thought yesterday that he was going to get ragdolled and played around with, and he stood his ground. He definitely stood his ground. He stood his ground against the big boys, Kroos and Casemiro and Modric. Because honestly speaking, I don't think any one of us on the panel, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't want that to sound like I'm speaking for anyone, but when we all thought about this game, we're thinking about the midfield battle. We're thinking, how are we going to get... Because there are very few teams in world football right now that are technically better than Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos as a combination. There are very few midfielders that can actually go match up with them. Yesterday, obviously, things changed up. We saw Kroos dropping into a back three, which midfielder shouldn't be doing. You could clearly tell that they have to rush the tactics and everything. But at the end of the day, Jorginho came out, stood his ground, and it was top class. But obviously, I've got to give a shout to Antonio Rudiger as well, because shout out to Christensen. People were shouting about Christensen. I get Christensen shouts. Christensen, I feel like he's gotten a lot of flowers recently, and deservedly so. But one person I really get into many is Rudiger, and I have to give it to Rudiger as well. So I'm giving you 4, Laurenz, not 3.
Hey, I'll take it. My 3, because I wouldn't.
I was going to say, of course, Danny gave 4 rather than 3.
Of course he did. Hey, he has to be special. We know that. Hey, we know him by now. He's just a bit special. Now, for me, I'd also have Rudiger in there, not because I thought he was necessarily better than Thiago Silva or Christensen, and it's probably because just a little bit of an unfair thought, if I'm being totally honest, but the fact that he keeps playing so many games at this high level without making mistakes, which was always the thing that worried me so much about him, that he had this mistake in him and almost did 1 or 2 every single game for seasons on end, literally. And now he's been going months over months, basically without making a single mistake. You could argue, aside from the own goal, but I actually spoke to Dan about this very thing previously, and he said you could argue that's more Mendy's fault than Rudiger's fault. So even that maybe isn't that much of a mistake, right? He's been unbelievable. And to do that again on this level, even though they didn't attack down his side as much as they did down the other side, sure, I still think he was, very, very impressive. And the same goes for Jorginho. I didn't necessarily expect 2 of you guys to pick him already. But again, it's one of those where I just start getting a bit defensive about players I like if I see them getting too much criticism, which I at times find unjust, So that's why I'm sometimes very, defensive. Can anyone else hear feedback?
I can.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the feedback coming from? Can anyone tell me?
It's not my studio level microphone, I can tell you that.
There you go. I mean, I can't hear any more now, so let me just continue. Like I said, when I think the criticism is a bit unjust, then I'm like, all right, I need to back him more. But again, like, Jorginho has been absolutely brilliant. Tuchel said it after the game. Think about how many bloody games Jorginho has played recently because of Cover being out injured. Kante got a rest every now and again. Jorginho played every single game and played 90 minutes every single game. And people might not have heard this. I know a lot of people saw it maybe, but some people might not. Jorginho covered the most ground yesterday. And everyone was going to hype up Kante, and Kante's everywhere and running. That isn't taken away from Kante. But Jorginho covered the most ground of any player on that pitch last night. And I know he covers it slowly, but he still covered it, right? So, you still have to give him his credit for that. And the next one, I don't know. I can't really decide between Kante and Pulisic, in all honesty. I think I'm going to give it to Kante because I kind of expected Pulisic to turn up like that. I kind of had this feeling that he would. But I was really, like Danny touched on, we arguably won that midfield battle against one of the best midfield threes in the world. And we all knew that it would require a Kante masterclass defensively, especially, to do that.
We also won it because Thomas Tuchel's tactics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, 100%, 100%. We'll have time to get to Tuchel in a second, but probably not, actually. But anyways, we knew that Kante would have to be right on it for that whole system to work. Kante in the big games just turns up, and every time it happens, I'm just super impressed by it. Like, I don't know, he might have boring games and poor games every now and again against the lower oppositions or whatever, games that maybe he just shouldn't play, and you go with Jorginho and Kovacic if they're both fit. But in these types of games, the way Kante can always just produce and can just keep running and keep running and keep running. And we know his passing ain't it at times, especially in the final third. The decision-making passing is disappointing and annoying sometimes, but still the energy levels he can produce when it really matters is very impressive, because players can play high-energy football, but very few players can do it like Kante and produce that high-energy football exactly when it matters. But we've discussed a lot of things, and I quickly want to just discuss the whole Tammy Abraham situation which came out today. I quickly want to get all of you guys' thoughts on that, because obviously Matt Law confirmed yesterday. What?
Danny! Remember what I said on your stream about Tammy Abraham?
I mean,
not going to be here in 2 years. I said it. Told you.
This motherfucker don't miss. He don't miss. He's too fucking. He don't miss, bro. He don't miss. Dan doesn't miss, fam. He said but he don't miss, fam. He don't miss. People used to drag him for not saying things, but you don't miss, bro. And here we are, fam. Tammy's arrivederci. So like that's how we got to be. I'm coming from. Unfortunately, innit? But like,
it's true. I think I even watched that stream. Was Simon on that as well?
Was before. So before we even streamed that, before we streamed that on the podcast, before I even started YouTube, Dan said this, fam. It's almost a year old now. It's like 8 months old, that podcast episode.
Yeah. Jay, if you got Jay on it right now, he'd be crying.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, Jay made a lot of noise on that thing, didn't he? Bro. And then the comment section from Hajir as well. Hajir is in tears right now. I can tell you that. Let me tell you that. He's in proper tears. This is what happens when you let me not get involved. But it's a mad one.
It is a bit bad. But yeah, what Matt Law said this morning is that Chelsea will listen to offers from about £40 million. First of all, I want to hear what you guys think about that evaluation. And then also, I still think if Tam started yesterday, he scores 2 goals.
We don't do if buts and maybes. We do absolutes, bro. Like my boy James Redmond said on one of those.
Don't tell me that when he missed from a yard out against West Ham. And I'm not having it was too high, by the way.
It was too high. What are you talking about?
No. Timing of the jump was poor. No.
The cross was for too close.
No, the cross wasn't ideal, but it was good enough for Tammy to figure it out. No, don't.
Yeah, but that was in the air. We know Tammy shot it in the air.
Tammy would score 2 goals against Real Madrid when he missed at the London Stadium from a yard.
No. Tammy with his feet is not the same thing as with his head. Tammy with his feet is not the same thing as with his head. And I'm not saying keep him for all that is mighty, not at all. But I still think he scores 2 goals. Scores the Werner one, and the one Kai, the cross that Ziyech doesn't, the Ziyech puts in that Kai doesn't even get to. I guarantee Tammy is there to tap it in because he's a tapping merchant, and he scores the 2 tap-ins. That's what he does.
Don't do this, Laurenz. Put down the microphone, boss. Put it down. Pack it in.
I'm having it.
Pack it in.
I'm having it. But anyway, let me just quickly continue the information bit. All right. So Tammy sold. We're going to listen to offers, and Giroud is not likely to extend his contract. So what we're going to do about that? And clearly, Dan had some very important views here. So give us your thoughts on that. Tell me how right you were 2 years ago or a year ago about Tammy Abraham. And also, what do we do with strikers? Do we just have Werner, Kai, and whoever we
Don't
sign?
say that. God forbid. Nah. Nah, I can't run. Not next season. Nah. But Dan, take it away, bro. I know you spit facts here, so go on, fam.
I can hear feedback again. Can you guys hear that? I think it's Con. Con's doing it on purpose, you know.
Am I? My mic's muted.
I'm just making sure you're in, Con. It's been a while.
Sorry, I'm eating.
With Tammy, I can hear myself. Not to worry. Yeah, I said a year ago. I think it was like a year ago on the stream that Jay and Dammy asked me for a controversial view about Chelsea, and my controversial view was Tammy Abraham won't be in the club in 2 years' time. And the reason for that is because, as we've seen with inconsistency in Tammy playing, I know what the board thinks about him. I've heard him been told what the board thinks about him. I've heard him been told what Lampard thought about him, and then what, more importantly, Tuchel thought about him when eventually he came in, of course. And Tammy, and I've shared news on this before, and a few people have actually DM'd me, like close sources DM'd me and said, don't think that's the case. Well, here we are. Tammy is not seen as the guy to lead Chelsea to Premier League and Champions League history and winning titles. He's just not. Does that mean he doesn't deserve a chance? He does, but he deserves more of a chance than he's got right now. And there's so much to this. But the news part is that Tammy's not seen as the guy. Chelsea have always been open. The board have always been open to, if a good offer came in from a West Ham or a Leicester, they would take it. 40 million, I think, seems a bit high. But I understand why, because he's English. He's English, young, coming from Chelsea, which are predominantly selling players for high fees, right? So I understand why it's 40, but I think maybe if someone offered 30, 35, you'd probably take it. But that's not my job. I don't really care. It's not my money. I think people get too emotional about that, like as if it really matters. It's Roman Abramovich, right? So, I mean, he's the guy that's making the business deals to get that money. So with that said, yeah, Tammy is Matt Law, obviously, Matt Law's obviously a very reliable Chelsea source. I speak to Matt, he's a good guy. And with that said, Tammy, if an offer comes in, Tammy will go. And Tammy is unhappy, and Tammy wants to play, and Tammy believes in himself. And, you know, it might make sense that if we do get another forward that he should go and he could go. And I've always said that from day one, and I've always reported that from day one. So I'll take that 1-0 Macca. Thanks for having me, lads. But with that said,
shameless, you know.
I am. I can be. I definitely can be. Just like the whole app that I sent out a tweet yesterday on the timeline about the Aspie thing. Like Aspie was fine, by the way. Wink face. Oh my god, the nibbles on that. The nibbles on that. It was so easy. Anyway, but I don't like to be that way because nobody likes that guy, right? Told you so. But there's a few of those on the timeline. But with that said, Tammy,
if you want to be I told you so, be I told you so. Go on.
No. But Tammy, I like Tammy. I think he's a good player. I think he offers something. I think he deserves more of a chance than he's had in the last 2-3 months. But I also don't believe Tammy was ever going to be. I personally don't believe Tammy would be good enough to be Chelsea's number 9 in the next 10 years. That's just my personal opinion. And I do see him, unless something drastic changes in the next 2-3 months, I can see him going. It also depends on if an offer came in, right? We can talk about all this, but if no one bids for him, then he's not leaving. There's a whole Declan Rice thing, right? Oh, we were so close to signing Declan Rice. We were, but we never put a bid in. A bid never actually went in, so we weren't that close to signing him. So a bid actually has to go in. But yeah, I don't think Tammy's the guy. I like him, and I think he deserves more of a chance, but I don't think he's the guy. And I think we do need to sign Lukaku or Haaland. I definitely do.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree. It's one of those where Tammy's not going to be, like Dan said, the guy that leads us to all the glory over the next 10 years. But I've said it also a few times, if Tammy wanted to stick around and is okay with being second choice, I think he'd be a very handy second choice striker to have.
Yeah.
But if he's not happy with that, totally fair enough. The one question, the difficult thing is the whole valuation of the 40 million, because then you see Aston Villa sign Ollie Watkins from the Championship for 28 million. Never played in the Premier League, never scored a Premier League goal, never played for England, 28 million. Joe Linton, Newcastle signed him for 40 million. Well, by that logic, Tammy should be 50 million. But obviously, that's not quite how football works, is it? So, Con, we've left you out for a second. What do you think about the whole Tammy situation? Oh, and look at this. We've got another guest, Mr. Carefree Lewis G. But Con, anyway, give us your thoughts. Lewis,
Guys, it was all good. I was just eating anyway, stuff in my face.
You fat.
Obviously, like having somewhat of a big account where you hear things, right? I'm no ITK at all, but sometimes you get told a few things. And this thing about Tammy, it's not new news to me. I've heard before by a few people actually how the club sees Tammy. So it's never really surprised me, to be honest.
Connor's going to come with that. I told you so in a minute.
No, because I've never said it, innit? Like, I'm not one to tweet the news I get. That's more Dan's sort of fatigue. I'm here just to waffle, you know? But so it doesn't surprise me. And if you look at Tammy, good player, nothing more, nothing less, you know? It's just he'll do a job. He can get 15 plus goals in the Prem side. But is he the guy who's going to win you that tie against Madrid? Is he a guy who's going to win you that FA Cup final? I don't think so. And if you look at that group of players who came up, Reece, Mount, Tomori, Tammy, come on, not all of them were going to make it. Like, if you thought all of them would be in the team for years to come, you need to get your head out your ass, because that's just not the case. It's not how elite football clubs work. But some of them might, like Reece and Mount, and then trickled in with some other world-class sort of talents brought in from the club. So, yeah, Tammy 40 mil, I see it going for more 30, to be honest. I think that's more realistic. Maybe 25, because the climate we're in. And if Chelsea are serious about getting another striker, I don't see the point of hanging on to Tammy, because if I'm not wrong, hasn't he only got like a year and a bit left in his contract?
Something along the lines of 2 years left, I think, at the end of the year.
Is it 2 years left?
Yeah, that's why it'd be best to cash in on him in the summer if he doesn't re-sign.
Yeah, so there'd be no point hanging on to him. So I like him though. I've always liked Tammy. If you look at my old tweets, I've been on Twitter for a long time. So if you look, I was supporting Tammy when he was in the Championship. I even talked about his loan spell at Swansea and don't doubt him. So I like the guy. I just don't think he's Chelsea material, to be honest. But I hope he does well. I hope he does leave and becomes that striker somewhere else, because he deserves it. Good guy.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Lewis, thoughts on the whole Tammy story? I know that's I'm sure that was what you touched on your stream to some extent earlier as well, with the whole Timo Werner stuff that you discussed. But what about the Tammy news? 40 million out the door. Giroud probably not extending his contract. How do you feel about all of that?
I'll be real, we didn't even get to the Tammy Abraham news because we started going round and round in circles about Werner for an hour and a half. But what is it? They want to sell him for 40 million, or are they getting offers on him for 40 million?
Nah, that's just what we're going to listen to. If the offers go that high, that's when we're going to start listening, apparently.
I mean, Marina's capable of anything in it, so 40 million for Tammy Abraham really wouldn't surprise me if that happened. Plus, English tax we got to take into account, and he would be a quality player in a different league as well. Like Bundesliga, I think he would thrive in if you sent him to that sort of league.
I keep saying this. Give him to Dortmund when we tried to sign Haaland. They need a replacement strike anyway. He'd be banging in goals, I guarantee it.
Dortmund don't want them off the Batshuayi. They don't want a Chelsea striker off the Batshuayi. They're like, no, we're done with that.
Wait, did Batshuayi really promise to have a Batshuayi? I thought he averaged a goal a game.
No, I was kidding. I like Batshuayi. Okay. He done well at Dortmund, yeah. But no, Tammy would do well in Bundesliga, I agree.
No, my thing is only Tammy's stocks are probably dropped low enough that you can't really seriously put him in a Haaland bid and expect him to take too much off the transfer valuation fee. As at least not enough for Marina to be happy to get rid of him too. But it all depends on the contract. He needs to get this idea that he's worth 180k a week out of his head. The sooner he gets out of his head, the better. Because I've said for the last few months, best thing for him is a loan deal. Loan him out to not a Bundesliga club, loan him out to a Premier League side, whichever one that could actually accommodate him to, not just any Europa League side, because they've got number 9s of their own that they're going to play, and they're not going to just focus on trying to develop R1. But what would be best for him would be a loan deal if we're talking about his long-term development. I've always said Tammy Abraham looks like a slow developer, and I feel like you'd see the best out of him once you get to the ages of around 25, 26. I don't want to say anything, it sounds way too long if you get to that point, but the point still stands. I feel Tammy Abraham is much more of a late bloomer. So for me, I can accept him being slow to develop right now because he's not our starting number 9. Last season he was, so it wouldn't have run. But even then, he got 16 goals in that season. So it is what it is. We're going to shrug our shoulders with that one and move on. It was a good season for him for his first season at a top 6 side. Fair enough. There's too many gaps in his overall all-round play to the point where I don't really want to see him on the pitch. Like this season, I don't know what other game you play him in because every game now is too important and he's burned all of his chances, in my opinion, for this season. I won't take another risk on Tammy Abraham because that just doesn't seem viable for me right now. But it doesn't mean, in my eyes, that he's done as a Chelsea-level player. I think there's still potential there. It's a lot longer than I think Tammy Abraham even himself thinks it's going to take. And I get that because you're always going to believe in yourself as a player. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. But that doesn't necessarily make it true either. Tammy Abraham right now is not Chelsea starter quality. He needs a loan spell. He needs more game time. He needs more development that he's not going to get at Chelsea, that he's going to get at another club. The only way that he gets that, though, is if he signs a contract with more acceptable wages than 180k a week. Like that's near enough robbery at that point. He should be nowhere near that sort of wage structure, if we're being honest about it. But that's the biggest problem, the wage. Get the contracts negotiations sorted, then it's a lot clearer. Just loan him out. Just loan him out, and then you'll see if he is even enough quality to even come back to us, or if we should just get rid and cut our losses at that point. But for me, I want to see him re-sign a contract. 40 million, if we could get him sold for that, like I wouldn't feel too bad about it. Like 40 million for Tammy Abraham, that's a great deal in my opinion if we're able to pull that one off. Long term though, that's what I'm thinking. I'm only thinking in terms of long term, but then you also have to take
just to clarify for everybody quickly. Lewis wants Lukaku, not Haaland. That's why he's thinking long term. All of us, all the other people want Haaland, so we don't need to think long term because we got a long term guy already.
Okay, yeah, that makes a bit more
Laurenz,
sense.
can I quickly ask Lewis a question? That's all right.
Go on.
You said Tammy's a late bloomer, right? And you'd want to loan him, but how many players or English strikers have the amount of goals he does for his age? Just
for Chelsea.
Just quickly.
Wait.
No. Just in general, how many English players at his age have the amount of goals he has?
I can't really give you names right now, but I'm going to go on a limb and say not a lot.
Exactly, bro. So I think
the question you need to ask, Con, is how many of those strikers get the number of chances Tammy Abraham does get?
What chances are you on about?
What?
A 5-minute caveat against West Ham. Is that a chance?
Do you mean? What do you say?
This isn't just based on the West Ham game.
I get that you're saying the chances, but Tammy won us the most points last season. He's won more points than any of our attackers have won us this season, you know?
Yeah, I'm not denying that. That's
so why are you talking about these chances, bro? Like, if we're going to back Havertz and
at Chelsea, he gets a lot
why
of,
is Tammy not getting the same treatment?
He gets a lot. Nah, the thing is, like, once again, this is a position where I can't be cancelled for this because on my channel, if you go and check his scroll a few videos back, I put a whole video on Tammy Abraham about respecting the player and how good he is as an individual. A lot of people just write him up. They call him Bambi or nice. They call him all sorts of funky things. Say he's not going to make it. Everybody's talking about rah, this and that. For me personally, I'm not going to get into any of that talk because honestly speaking, I'm of the belief that Tammy wants to leave because he feels like he could get better opportunities elsewhere. Let him be taking his things and let him be going because obviously you have to respect him as a player. I believe he can do very good things. I feel like he can be a good striker. Do you know, you could be a better striker. I believe we should put a buyback clause in his contract as well, if possible. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't look stupid in the future. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm not getting involved. But I'm also not going to sit down here and act like Tammy Abraham also didn't get a lot of chances on goal that he fluffed on a consistent basis as well. So that's one thing I'm not going to do. Do you know where I'm coming from, Con?
No, that's fair, bro. But if you look at shots to goals, I don't know who's is better, his or Giroud's, but he's just pretty high.
No, I'm not even talking about Giroud. You just said in general, you compared.
I'm talking about Tammy.
Yeah, you compared. Comparison came from like other English strikers. That's what you said, didn't it? Around his age, how many of them get the opportunity that Tammy does get? Not a lot, fam.
Tammy did not. No, but Tammy went on loan and did that on loan. That's what I'm saying. So to say he's a late bloomer and he's a loan, I disagree with that. That's
I didn't call him a late bloomer. I didn't.
No. Tammy, that's what I was saying to Lewis. Like he said that he felt like he needed a loan and he was a late bloomer. But I'm saying at his age, there's not. I don't think there's any English striker at his age who's got more goals than Tammy right now.
For England regularly, because if we're saying that, we also have to take into account a lot of those came from the Championship.
He was scoring more goals in the Championship than Ollie Watkins was.
Ollie Watkins is better all-round play, though. That's the thing. For me, Tammy Abraham, I'm not questioning his goal-scoring ability. Even if I'm going to say that as well, I would like to see a better range of finishes from Tammy Abraham as well. But I understand your point too. My problem is his all-round game. It's just not good enough. Nowhere near good. And I get with Timo Werner as well. His finishing is shocking. And every week, the arguments for him just get even older and older. And I'm saying this as someone who's tried to back Timo Werner the entire season. There's been holes around all of our players this season. But I rate Timo Werner's all-round game more than I rate Tammy Abraham's at the very least. Because Tammy Abraham's all-round game just isn't good enough.
Now, Lewis, I agree with that. But this is the last thing I'm going to say before I mute myself. I feel like you don't have to rate Tammy right, and you don't have to think he's good enough for Chelsea. No problem with that at all. Because do you know what? I shared that view. But I think people saying he's had the chances and the late bloomer bit, I think he's just not the striker we need. But he'd be perfect for someone else, you know? I feel like that was just a bit wrong.
I agree, but I agree in the sense of if you send him to a club that makes way more chances than we do, he'd thrive a lot more because he'd get a lot more chances put onto him and he'd be in the right position to do it. Tammy Abraham in the box is dangerous. Definitely, maybe not in the air, but Tammy Abraham on the ground is dangerous. And we all know that as a fact.
Absolute West Ham thing there. I rate
that weren't even based on the West Ham game. That's just in general. But I feel like that's another thing that's going to come with age too.
You're right. I think do you know what? This is football, right? Everyone makes a valid point. Like, you know, Tammy did score a lot of goals last year. He could have scored more, but he did score a lot of goals last year. I agree with Lewis. Timo Werner's all-round game is better than Tammy Abraham. I agree with Lewis again. I think he is a late bloomer. I don't think he's going to develop or has developed as quickly as Reece James and Mason Mount has. I think that's true too. I agree with Connor that Tammy could deserve a little bit more respect. So everyone's right. But at the end of the day, and we're saying, and Lewis, I think you said it or someone else said it, there's gaps in a lot of people's games, right, at Chelsea. You've got to remember, that's an age thing. Like, they're all so young. All the players we're talking about right now are young. They're going to have gaps in their game. Like, they're not the finished article that Karim Benzema is. They're not the finished article that Lukaku is getting to be, right? Lukaku's pretty much getting there now. So I think we have to remember that.
Then again, people are acting like Tammy's not turning 24 this year, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? So let me not even.
Yeah, no, you can't keep saying forever, right? He's going to be a late bloomer and he's going to develop. You can't, especially at Chelsea. Especially at Chelsea, you can't say that.
See, Dan, this is where I disagree, bro, because I just think he's a poacher. I think that's his profile. I don't think he's going to develop into this like all-round striker. I think he's going to stay a poacher for his whole career because that's what he excels at. You know,
I could definitely see that too. But I don't think Chelsea want that or need that.
No, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, it might not fit us, but I don't feel like he needs to get better. I think he just needs to go to a team more suited to his profile, you know?
Yeah, they're both maybe, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think the whole Tammy debate is a very tricky one because I echo a lot of what all of you guys have said. I think there is a good striker in him, but it just needs to be the type of striker that suits the team he plays for. And he might not quite suit us. And the fact that he's as tall as he is and as poor in the air as he is, that's not a good combination. It's always going to make you look a bit silly. But I have one last question. I want just a one-word answer from all of you guys for this. What's more ridiculous? Tammy Abraham asking for £180,000 a week, or Erling Haaland, at least reportedly, asking for £600,000 a week? One-word answer. Let me go with you first, Dan. What's more ridiculous?
It's not that easy, right? I know it's not one word, but I mean, if you see your boy Callum Hudson-Odoi getting that money, I understand why Tammy's agent's asking for the same thing, even though the pair of them are not worth it. What's more ridiculous? What's more ridiculous? I'll probably say Haaland. 600 bags, man. Nah.
At 20, man's 20. Do you know what I mean?
I'll say Haaland. Yeah, I don't think that's not going to happen. But that's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Dammy, what about you? Tammy or Haaland?
Is Haaland mad? Is he on crack cocaine, blood? How dare you, fam? You know what £600,000 a week is, fam? £2.4 million in 1 month, blood. That is what? That is 30 million in a year. Are you sick, fam? What are you trying to buy? Are you trying to buy a startup in Silicon Valley, fam? Sit down, fam. Put down the pen, put down the paper, and pack it in, fam. How dare
he wants to buy Arsenal because everyone seems to want to do that at the moment.
600k.
Yeah, I used to like Spotify until that happened.
Can we like be bought by Apple Music then? So we have that fight with Arsenal going on. Like.
Do you remember that like 2 years ago where apparently Roman was going to leave? That was a mad 6 months. That wow. And who's at the English businessman? Right, was going to buy us apparently.
Radcliffe,
what's his name?
He's now got shares in the
that's
Mercedes F1 team somehow. Don't know how that's happened, but anyways, Con, what's more ridiculous, Tammy or Haaland?
Raiola.
I like that answer. I like that.
Yeah. Good.
Can't have the answer for me tonight, to be fair. Yeah.
He is ridiculous, isn't he, Raiola? But he gets it done, man. He gets it done. Like he does get it done.
And that's why players like him.
Yeah.
Of course. Everyone hates him. Clubs hate him. But why, as a player, would you not like him as your manager, as your agent? If he gets you triple the wages, someone else would. Like, are you going to complain if someone offered you triple the money you're making right now? No, you wouldn't. But Lewis, do you echo with all of us? Haaland's more ridiculous, or would you say Tammy?
Raiola is an absolute scam artist. 600k a week and 150 million for a guy who can't even consistently beat a low block. No, I'm good. Tammy can ask that money all he wants.
Lewis has very controversial opinions about bloody early Haaland.
I'm going to hide my face for that when it gets clipped, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not involved. You man can do your thing, fam. Nah.
I am here, innit?
Nah, I'm not here, innit. I'm not here, innit. I'm not here, fam.
I'm not even going to lie. The fact he kept that straight face as well, I got mad. Like, look, you can have some outlandish views, but if you say it with a straight face and you're saying my name's there, I respect it. There's no shame. So, especially with the Christensen Hive, there's no shame. I respect that.
Yeah, to be fair,
of course, you already know.
I need to ratio one of those tweets one of these days.
You've been threatening to ratio me for months.
I did it twice.
Come on,
I cannot.
We keep Eden Hazard nice, don't you worry. We don't lock him up that bad. He's got the Courvoisier, he's got the crown, he's got.
I can't be I cannot be
Oh god.
I can't honestly.
I will make one last comment in a little bit of defense of Raiola and Haaland. I'm very convinced that this kind of demand was made thinking Super League's happening. And I think now the Super League ain't happening. I think those wage demands drop very quickly, very drastically. But
I think days, what's even happening with that? I thought Perez was still trying to keep that moving.
Fam, I don't talk about Super
League. He can try and move whatever he wants. It's not happening.
That Super League news broke when I came on Vescoli stream, fam. I didn't even know what. I just woken up, fam. Like I said, I've been ill in it. I just woke up. I bounced in, and then I heard that Super League. I said, what's going on? I found out your channel, bro. Do you know what I mean? No. Bun that thing, fam. Bun it, fam. You know what I mean?
It was a bit mad. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been having a wonderful discussion. A lot of laughs. Brilliant. So I appreciate all of you guys that have come on. Also, Lewis that has joined us late. Of course, Dan McCarthy. Follow him on Twitter if you don't already. Of course, at Macca Sport. Check out his articles. Check out his podcast with Simon Phillips. Of course, subscribe to the Grand Dam. The link will be down in the description. The same goes for Con. Check out him on Twitter. And of course, Carefree Lewis G on the YouTube as well. Again, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for everyone that has tuned in. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. We're just over 500 away at this point. So, let's get that done by the end of the season, or the sooner the better, obviously. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, become a member if you fancy that. But yeah, we're going to leave it at there. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, listen. Oh my god.